even if you serve the warrant, kung hindi niya alam at hindi alam ng lawyer niya, how do you expect him to run to court for the to get legal remedy? So, going back, Attorney Alexis, sir, so is the ability to seek legal remedy part of due process? Meaning, if you deny me, if you're accusing me of something, my warrant of arrest, and you don't allow me to go to Philippine courts, is that denying you due process?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Without casting any aspersion on the character or competence of the officials involved.
Yeah, I'm asking a general question. I think SOJ naman is listening, yes, and they will answer. So, going back to surrender. So, if my foreign court ngayon, I look, I have it somewhere here, pasensya na kayo magulo. Senator Trillanes was saying in May 2024 na 3 batches of warrants to. First daw is si PRRD, after that daw, Senator Bato, Senator Bongo, etc. And then sa third batch, military and police officials. So, I agree with Senator Bongo na wala na tayong magagawa in the sense na nandyan na si PRRD. But I disagree na hindi importante itong hearing kasi kung may second, third, fourth batch pa yung warrants, it's important. And take note tama po ba ako, during the time that the Marawi uprising or the Marawi siege, Secretary Anyo, we were still under ICC noon, no? Kasi that was tama po, di ba? When we were in Russia. So you know, if a terrorist who survived goes to the ICC and shows them pictures of 19 women or children that were died and comes up with a witness and tells them, alam nyo, from President Duterte to Sec Anyo to the Chief of Staff to ganito, they planned this, they killed this ganito. It may be not true, it may be totally false. So if the ICC issues a warrant here, I want to make sure that every officer of the AFP has his day in court before they're sent to Hague. So valid itong hearing na to. As I said, may emotions lang, and you know, let's excuse all of ourselves kung minsan may konting emotion, but we just want to clarify this. So yun yung context ng tanong ko, Tony Alexis, no? So kung halimbawa may warrant for whatever for Juan de la Cruz, kinuha siya based on that warrant, pero hindi siya binigyan ng enough time or enough opportunity before a Philippine judge, aren't we denying him due process? Because pagdating dun sa foreign court, as SOJ said correctly, and I agree with him, iba language, iba procedure, and everything. So isn't a Filipino citizen, doesn't he have the right under the Constitution to be judged first by Philippine law before he's brought off to a foreign country or to an international tribunal to face what their interpretation of the law is?
If I may answer,
yes,
Your Honor, if you look at the consistent policy of the Constitution, when there is a deprivation of liberty, the consistent policy of the Constitution is to involve the judiciary. The exclusion, complete exclusion of the judiciary in the deprivation of liberty of any citizen is anathema to the principles of the Constitution. And you can see that in the different provisions of the Constitution. You can see that in the requirements for the warrant of arrest, due process, liberty of abode, criminal proceeding, criminal due process, even in the period when the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus is suspended, the Constitution mandates the government to file charges against the person. So,
last two
always.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Last two questions or three, then opportunity for SOJ. No? So, yung pong, nagugulat ako kasi even those who claim to be human rights activists, pinopost nila to sa Facebook. Again, hindi ko nila lahat. I admire many human rights activists, but even some na very well known, no? If I'm not mistaken, even former Senator De Lima, more or less may ganitong tema. Bakit? Si Duterte ba may alam na due process nung pinatay silang mga to? Diba? Bakit siya ngayon humihingi ng due process? So, my next question is due process only for the innocent? Only for the saints? Or even, first of all, President Duterte is presumed innocent. But assuming 5 times na convicted drug lord, rapist, torturer, etc., nahuli ng PNP. Under our Constitution, dapat ba may due process pa rin siya?
Yes, Your Honor, if you look at the text of the Constitution, there are no names that are excluded from its application.
So even if a person, whether he's a private citizen or government, is accused of not giving due process, that's the beauty of the Constitution, di ba?
Opo.
That everyone should be given due process.
Opo.
Oo. So I just want to make that clear kasi nga, sabi ni Secretary de Lima, walang due process sa kanya. But if you go before that, nung iniimbestigahan pa lang niya si President Duterte when she was CHR and she was DOJ, wala naman siyang final na kaso. So sabi naman ni President Duterte, nung mayor pa lang siya, wala akong due process. Sinasabi na niya na guilty ako. So nung siya naman yung naging presidente, eto naman nakulong, ang sinasabi naman niyang walang due process si Duterte. So ang point ko lang, if we as Filipinos do not demand due process for everyone, DOJ and the government is not saying that they denied, but I'm just saying, no, mali yung argument sa Facebook na pag ikaw hindi mo binigyan ng due process yung kalaban, ikaw hindi ka na pwedeng kumuha ng due process. Iba po yun. Meron doctrine sa batas that those to come to court should come with clean hands. That's a different application. Anyone can come to court asking for due process, di ba? I wanted to clear that up lang, and I ask you that, Dr. Alexis, for 2 reasons. One, attorney, because you're a constitutional law professor. Number 2, if I ask SOJ, baka ispin nung iba and they tell na meron o wala si Duterte. I'm not talking about Duterte, I'm talking about every single Filipino deserves due process. Okay. My next question is, will the Interpol, or I don't want you to make a judgment sa Interpol, no? If any foreign entity, no, comes to us and asks for an arrest, is it non-cooperation with them if we say, may provisional arrest, we have him in custody, but a Philippine judge has to decide whether or not we can turn him over to you?
If I may, Your Honor, international conventions actually respect compliance with the domestic laws. Even the Rome Statute, in the cooperation, the requirement is application of the laws of the country, of the custodial state. So it's up to the custodial state how to comply. There is no issue that we should comply with all these international obligations. That's not the dispute. The dispute is how to comply. And the manner of compliance is governed primarily, of course, by the Constitution, the highest law of the land.
And that's precisely why the diffusion notice stated provisional arrest or extradition, because so this is the parallelism of what I want to make. If the ICC knows na pwedeng provisional arrest or pwedeng extradition, they give it sa Interpol, hindi naman magagalit ang Interpol kung nagbigay silang red notice at ang sagot mo sa Interpol, we have him under custody but we cannot release him to you unless a Philippine court so orders, or unless we give him enough time to seek legal remedy. Because of course, if the person doesn't seek legal remedy, para na rin niyang sinurrender. Because the whole argument is that we're just helping Interpol. So I just wanted to clear that up. And again, ang hirap ng Facebook o media interview kasi hindi nakakasagot yung kabilang side. Eto, we can, I'll stop there, Madam Chair. So the point I want to make, and this is my personal stand, and I hope in a less emotional and more academic setting also, Mr. Secretaries, we can determine that, because part of life, liberty, and ano ba yung ginamit natin? Iba kasi yung sa US, di ba? Sila may pursuit of happiness. Tayo, life, liberty, and property is the peace of mind. Di ba? The peace of mind na dito, at least sa bansa ko, siyempre, hindi mo kontrolado kriminal. Diyan pumapasok, Sir Marbil, yung peace and order, assurance, etc. But at least alam ko, hindi ako pwedeng biglang arestuhin dito tapos i-try wherever, di ba? Pero kung in doubt yon, di ba? So, for example, feel free to judge Senator Bato, but I made the same statement as the Senate President that if he's in the Senate, even if beyond 6 years yung kakasuhan sa kanya, kung hindi pa nagde-decide ang Supreme Court what constitutes surrender, etc., and he seeks legal remedy, we should give, under reasonable circumstances, sanctuary to him. We did that sa Batasan 5. I mean, I've never be pro, hindi ko na alam kung anong word ang gagamitin kasi baka sabihin red tagging, di ba? But the progressive left or whatever, di ba? During the time of President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, we were together, Secretary, di ba, na we weren't looking at their ideology, we weren't looking at guilty ba sila or hindi. We were looking at the institution and the, what you call this, the balancing ba na pag medyo sigurado na legal yung pag-arrest, etc., tayo mismo kumakausap sa kanila na lumabas na kayo dito. I think that's what happened with Senator De Lima. No? I'll stop there. Napakaraming issues. Mamaya pa na factual ang tanong ko. But